There's a saying as old as time, when there's smoke, there's fire. And I've been looking at this for the last few months, and then there were some rumors going around yesterday, and I'm telling you guys, something big is coming. Something big is coming. That substantial NASCAR announcement, I think that's still going to happen eventually, but something more is coming. Because, like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's too much smoke. There's too much smoke for there not to be a fire. Smoke just doesn't. This isn't a video game. You can't just, put in the smoke texture and there's no fire. No. This is real life. When there's smoke, there's fire. I've said it 4 times now. I think it's because I'm playing Final Fantasy and there's a lot of fire in that game. That's probably why I'm saying that. All right, guys. Let me just get right to the point. I think there's a possibility. I haven't thought about this before. I told you guys about last week or 2 weeks ago that substantial NASCAR announcement. What could it be? And I kept telling you guys the exclusive license. Look at the exclusive license. Will that end? Will it go to somebody else? Look at that. And then on August 9th, which was yesterday, Motorsport Games was supposed to have a earnings call. It was canceled. There's no earnings call. Q2 earnings call for Motorsport Games. Motorsport Games has also been dead silent. I said this the other week as well. Nothing on Twitter. Nothing on IG, nothing on their LinkedIn since they released NASCAR Rivals a year ago. There's been nothing whatsoever about Motorsport Games. They don't post, they don't announce, they don't do anything. The only thing they have announced recently is the new CEO, Stephen Hood, which made the company, then left, and then came back. That's it. That's the only thing that has been announced in forever. They released that Heat 5 update that was just the laziest, most terrible just way of update. Like, genuinely, high school students could do a better job. They literally, all they did was port low texture quality assets in the Unreal Engine from the Nintendo Switch port and put that for some reason into the Heat 5 port on PC. That's why you can genuinely see the texture resolutions actually be worse on PC. It's stuff that literally no one learning coding in college would ever do. It's just ridiculous. It's beyond amateurish, like how they have been behaving. And there's probably a reason why now, because all this silence, all this, blah blah blah, it's started. There's rumors coming out. I don't want to make clear I don't know anything concrete, but I do have these feelings within me that now, not just the exclusive license, guys, that you should be looking at. I think there's a high possibility you can see Motorsport Games be bought out by somebody else. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a personal experience because I actually talked about this with the old CEO, Dmitry Kosko. I would go to the Miami headquarters. I would visit, see what's going on. How is everyone doing? I remember one conversation, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago, whichever it was, about would Motorsport Games ever get bought out? And, as CEOs would say, they're like, don't worry about money. We have money. That's what the old CEO would say. But obviously, when you look at the earnings calls and you look at everything else, then that funding has to come from somewhere. And then earlier this year or late last year, you had that, remember the 10 million funding from some guy, owner of motorsport.com, I think, put in $10 million of funding, and Motorsport Games stock went booming up, right? It went up like 200%. It was just like the stock market manipulation. It went from under $1 to $30 or something like that. It just went shoot up, and then it comes right back down, right? And it came back down to around $4 or $5. I think that's where it's sitting right now. All of this are these are all signs of things that are not normal. You don't have a company's stock price go from under $1 to 30 and then back down or whatever it is. You don't have these instances where you announce a new CEO and then earnings calls are canceled. There's no announcements for 4 or 5 months. Those things don't happen without there being some smoke around. And I was thinking, we have money. Do you really? There was also rumors going on that you guys are going to have to let me know on this. Motorsport, the company Motorsport.com was bought out by someone else, but Motorsport Games wasn't involved in that. Again, that's just all rumors that I don't really want to get into. But again, if this is the case, there's no money there. You're not making games. There's no live service. There's no microtransactions. There's no sponsorship. There's no esports series. There's nothing. There's no revenue. It's clear as day to see that. So can they get bought out? And I'm starting to think with the rumors going on, Mike Straw on Twitter is talking about how the landscape's going to change. He's been talking to anonymous sources, but obviously he can't reveal anything. There was another account, I think like Alan Bailey, I think it was, saying that they knew something that would come out September 30th, which is, like 50 days away. So that's still pretty far, a long way away. But I don't think this is just exclusive licensing anymore. There's also forums on iRacing, people talking about how iRacing isn't banning the word IndyCar anymore. Now, I haven't really looked. Obviously, you still can't, run Indy cars and stuff on it, like the actual name and stuff, but the word iRacing is not like banned as it was, or not iRacing, IndyCar is not banned as it used to be when that deal went through at the start of the year where iRacing had to like just basically eliminate everything IndyCar because Motorsport Games had the exclusive license. And all this is turning in like, this can't all just be about exclusive license, right? You don't cancel earning calls, you don't be silent for 5 months just because you're losing exclusive licenses of IndyCar and NASCAR and stuff. I don't believe that. That Le Mans game that's supposed to be coming out at the end of the year, it's going to be a cut and paste from R Factor 2, throw in some Le Mans stuff, make it its own thing, PC only release, can't even release on consoles. When there's smoke, there is fire, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm starting to believe that Motorsport Games could be bought out. That's my personal opinion as of right now. What I do know, what I can tell you for a fact, is that nothing is not going to happen. So, like, nothing happening is not happening. Something is happening. Whether it has to do with the exclusive license, whether it has to do with Motorsport Games going bankrupt, whether it has to do with Motorsport Games getting bought out by another company. One of these things are going to happen, and maybe multiple of these things are going to happen. We don't know, but something is happening. And yes, this does put doubt in that IndyCar game that is still being worked on, but I'm pretty sure that the IndyCar game is mostly being developed in Australia, and this because again, Motorsport Games has offices in Miami, they have offices in London, they have offices in Australia. I'm pretty sure that game is mostly being worked on in Australia and maybe in London, but I don't know about that, but mostly in Australia. That game still might come out. There's no news on it. I think Motorsport Games might be getting bought out, but now by who, right? By who? And this is where I'm like, there's only 3 choices, right? EA, that's the most obvious. iRacing, the second most obvious. And maybe Take-Two, but that's not really. That's just like throwing the name in there because it's a big company. EA and iRacing, right? Would iRacing actually spend the money to buy out Motorsport Games? It's kind of funny because when Motorsport Games was releasing NASCAR 21 Ignition, and iRacing, at most of the tracks they visit, they have those, they have the sim rigs set up so you could try out iRacing when you're at the track and drive on the track that you're visiting, right? So if you're at Daytona, they have iRacing sims ready for Daytona. They have like an iRacing truck, like a truck thingy. And both of the things, like when Motorsport Games would set up like a tent with computers and stuff to try out their game, and iRacing would have their sim rigs, they'd be in the same area because it would be like the gaming sections, right? And there was always tension between them. Like, iRacing and Motorsport Games never got along. They don't like each other. They never have. And so it would be kind of funny if iRacing then went in and it was like, I'm going to buy you out. But this is business. If you're going to buy out a company, there has to be assets that they have that you want to use. Not just in terms of licenses, but also in terms of employees, offices. All these are assets, right? And so let's, like, for example, if iRacing were to buy out Motorsport Games, well then iRacing has a whole department in Australia and a department in London and all these employees and stuff like that. And do they want that? Do they want to put up the money for that? If they do, they can kind of set up, they have a little base there where now you have IndyCar license, you have the NASCAR license, you can rebrand Motorsport Games into some version of iRacing console, or I don't know, just like a different name, and you have a starting point, which was my biggest worry with iRacing, was that you don't really have a starting point. You have Monster Games, who make World of Outlaws, but again, Monster Games is a very small developer. You don't have the assets, the resources, the amount of people developing a game that you would need to make it great on consoles. It could be something, It could be something. And then you have EA. And EA buying out Motorsport Games would not be a surprise to me, because EA, they have so much money in the world. They literally make, they probably make what, 20 million in like a week? No, less. 20 million in 2 days? Probably less. 20 million in 2 minutes? I don't know. They make so much money that it doesn't matter. Their CEO gets paid more than what Motorsport Games would be worth, okay? So it doesn't really matter. EA have a ton of money. Same thing. Would they want the assets? And then you can merge people, and you already have Codemaster, so you can merge assets and employees here and move them over there, and then da-da-da-da-da, and all this stuff. But again, Australian office, London office, Miami office, all this stuff, you know, how would you merge everything together? That's where I have my doubts of a buyout actually happening, is that because Motorsport Games is very vast, like worldwide in terms of offices and stuff, what company will want to do that? And again, when you want to buy out a company, you could just wait till they go bankrupt. I mean, you save some money there, right? So you could just wait for that as well. Yeah, basically, I'm not seeing any good signs for Motorsport Games. I don't see how anything positive for this comes out from them. I really don't. I still think that exclusive license, that is the substantial announcement. I think that's what that is. More of the rumors that have been happening yesterday with the cancellation of the earnings call and Mike Straw talking about it, I think that's above the exclusive license. I think that's companies talking, can something be figured out here? Because looking at it from a business standpoint, if you could get Motorsport Games at a discount because they're fledgling like the sinking Titanic, I mean, you can probably make a return on your investment there somewhere. So just keep an eye on that, guys. What do you guys think in the comments down below? Because this is going to be a volatile situation for the next 2 months. Because something has to happen before October. Something has to happen. You can't just be quiet for this long and just keep going like everything's normal. That's not how it works. So I know this video didn't really give you guys any concrete information, but what I am telling you guys is keep your eyes, yes, and your mind open, because anything can happen. Whether it be licenses changing, whether it be companies merging, anything can happen. And there are some big name players in here that want to do that, because the NASCAR console space, not only NASCAR, the IndyCar console space, British Tour Carring Series, if you want that license, Le Mans, which is a huge license, all of these are up for play, and no company is going to just turn away from that. There's a lot of money to be made with these licenses. So, and with employees, businesses, offices, headquarters, there's stuff to be done here. So just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. Keep tagging me on Twitter if any news comes about, because that's how you guys let me know. You just at me and then I see it. So take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already. Subscribe if you're new. And let's see what happens. Something is definitely happening. Peace out.